Hi, I'm Bee Jasmine Paints, but you guys can just call me Bee. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! Which feels so weird to say. This is my first ever video. Kind of nervous, but here we go. I thought for this video today, we would do a little about me, I guess, and how I got into the hobby, and then do a desk tour, which most people would have tidied their desk before doing said desk tour. So a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Bee. I'm 33, I'm from Yorkshire, and I am a mini painter. So if you aren't familiar with any of my painting and my content, I mostly paint a style that I call girly pop, which is all pastel girly colours, as I like to call it. So it's a pastel pink, blue, purple, yellow and green scheme that has created a girly pastel candy type look. I also paint miniatures based on my favourite films and animes and books and TV shows. So I've done the Sailor Moon Guardians, I've done the Evangelion Ava suits, I've done Bimo from Adventure Time. It's kind of anything that I personally love and am interested in, I have painted. And alongside painting Warhammer, I also am still very much building Gundam and enjoying that at the moment. So I'll try do this quicker than when I tried to film this before and ended up being 35 minutes. I'm just going to run through how I got into the hobby and kind of how I got into content creating and my journey so far and how I got to where I am now. So firstly, mini painting and content creating kind of go hand in hand for me of how this all sort of happened. I was first introduced to the hobby in, I want to say, 2021. I had a friend who was a content creator and they created Warhammer content. So I knew about the hobby through them. It's worth noting at this time, I was a Twitch streamer. It was the height of the pandemic and everybody was streaming. So I was streaming horror games on Twitch and I was sort of doing little bits on Instagram and my main focus was TikTok. I had sort of grown a little bit on that platform. So my friend took me to our local Warhammer store and I bought a starter box, one of those. So it was a Space Marines and Necrons. And if you know me, you know I don't like Necrons. So I was very unsure of why I bought this one in particular, but here we are. And it was just kind of try and get used to painting, I guess. I brought a few paints and they were a pink, purple and blue. They were a bit darker than the ones that I use now for girly popping, but you know, they were the girly colours I wanted to use. And thus the Uwu Marines were invented. These were very questionable. They were very badly painted, but they were my first minis, bear in mind. And this is kind of how I got into the whole, I wanted to paint girly Warhammer, should we call it. I then tried to stay in the painting and I got myself a Loon Shrine. So I also got one of the Underworlds and it was the one with like the, I'm going to call it the fish people in it. So I had like a little crab and a little fish and like mermaid looking people, and I tried to paint those up as well and that was an unfortunate disaster. I then just found that Warhammer maybe wasn't for me. I enjoy painting and I'm quite an arty person, but I just thought, do you know what, I don't understand the factions or the lore. I'm not really interested in the models too much. I'm gonna just bounce out of Warhammer, like it's not my thing. Then in 2022, I want to say, I discovered the absolute love of my entire life, Gundam, and I became absolutely obsessed with Gundam. I still am. That's kind of where I put my focus and my hobby energy into. I tried to like custom paint my own Gundams, not to any great success, but that's where I'd put all my focus into. I then realised my favourite part of Gundam at that time wasn't so much the building part. I was super enjoying the painting, and that's when I thought, I think I want to paint miniatures again, but I'm not really sure where to go with this. I'm not really sure what to do. And then at the end of 2023, I bought myself a War Walker and a Wraith Lord, I believe. They were trying to get back into the hobby. In 2024, I got a new job working at my local gaming store, and that kind of just pushed me back into that world. So in June, I decided that's it, I'm going to start painting. This unfortunately coincided with the time that I got made redundant from that job as the store closed. But I started painting a few odd bits and found that I was really enjoying it. And I bought some of the minis that I've been looking at for those few years, and I decided I was finally going to paint and get into that. Sadly, in around August time, I got really unwell. I ended up super unwell. I still don't know what's fully wrong with me, but it put kind of a hold and a setback on the painting, and sitting at my desk was a struggle, and being focused on painting just was no longer my priority. Come to December of 2024, I made a New Year's resolution, and I told myself I was going to paint again. I told myself I was going to do it for me. I was going to paint what I wanted to paint. I was going to post more on social media, and that I was going to go back into Twitch streaming. So January of 2025 came about. I did it. I started posting. I started painting for myself, and I posted. I have posted continuously and painted continuously for 5 months now. This is where we are. We're here. We're making YouTube content about Warhammer. We're posting on an Instagram account for Warhammer. Never thought that would happen, but that's how we got to where we are. So in my Q&As, I've had a few people ask, what is my desk setup and what is on my desk? What stuff am I using? What brushes do I use? What paints do I use? I had a lot of questions about that, so I thought the best way to do it would be just to take you on a tour of my incredibly messy desk and show you everything that's going on here. So let's go. So this is my main painting setup, and I'll show you a little bit more of all the bits that's going on my desk. The back wall of my desk are the IKEA SCODIS pegboards. I store the majority of the essentials on here. The top shelf is all my Technique and metal paints. The second shelf is all my girly pop colours and standard black and white paints. The third is my Turbo Dorks, Tamiya cements, and then some metallics. And the bottom shelf is Citadel shades and contrast paints. So on my desk at the moment is some Space Marines I'm building. I've got my paint storage holder and orange brushes. I currently have discount codes for both of these on my Instagram if you're interested. I'm currently working on a girly pop Gaz, but look, he's such a cutie. On the other part of my pegboard, I have all of my standard Citadel paints, my Pro Acryls and Army Painter speed paints, then some of my Gundam tools and more paintbrushes, and then up here are all my different glues and tools. So over on my shelving unit, which is one of the IKEA desktop shelves, I have all of my Vallejo paints sorted by colour. In the middle trays, I have some more technical type paints and a tray of the Vallejo auxiliary products. That's the perks of working in a gaming store. You will notice any surface area that I have gets used for displaying minis, so here are all of my girly pop towel and some other odd minis that I have. On these shelvings here, I have all of my basing bits. I'm really loving the kraut cover stuff at the moment. This shelf has all of my diorama FX pastes, some rocks and grass bits, and then the shelf above just has my tufts and various other bits. There was some more surface here, so there's some more minis. These are all my other themed minis like Mothman, Care Bears, Gundam, the Cherry Blossoms, the Mushroom themes, Kirby's, and then Beemo from Adventure Time. Underneath of my desk is all my Gundam backlog. I say that, but some of these are actually built ones. I've just kept the boxes because they've got spare pieces in. In the storage boxes underneath, the first one has got all my Magic decks, as I love Magic the Gathering, and then the other ones just have PC parts and makeup and bits like that in. On the other side of my room, I have more Gundam overflow and boxes of extra Warhammer bits for kit bashing. All of my girly pop Tyranids live on top. On this part, we've got my groups, so there's Sanrio, Evangelion units, themed Tyranids, and then the Sailor Moon Guardians. I've had a few people ask me about this storage unit, so I'll show you what's inside. We will start with the big drawers at the bottom. This has my little nail bows that I use for Gundam. These two drawers have got my cherry blossom type flocking in. This one has more pearls and glitter.
This one has some mushrooms and rocks in. This drawer has my sprinkles and gummy bears for candy themed Warhammer. I've got some more pearls and star sequins. This drawer is actually fake snow, but it works well as iridescent glitter for bases. And then the last drawer has some Geek Gaming Scenic rocks and basing in. So onto my smaller drawers. The majority of these are just glitters that I keep organised by colour to make it easier to find. This next drawer is more bark bits and leaves. We've got some mixing balls and crystals. This drawer is just the Citadel skulls, which I don't think I've ever used. This is nail art roses and some wooden leaves. And this is a drawer of gemstones. There's a drawer of foils and more foils. This is some holographic sequins. I then have a drawer of really cute plastic bubbles. I keep trying to find something to use them for because they look so nice. Some more tufts in this one, more basing, some glue gun sticks and glitter glue gun sticks. And then the last drawers are all the tiny rhinestones and cute gems that I use for my Gundams. So over here, this shelf stores all of my built Gundam. We've got my Girly Pop, Sailor Moon Nobel, Evangelion, Hello Kitty, and I've just built this Witch from Mercury Ariel. Moving down is all of my board games. I'm a huge fan of the Final Girl series. Some of them are missing as they're in my living room where I've been playing them. And then I've got some other board games like Escape the Dark Castle and Dark Sector. Behind my desk is my trolley of shame or unbuilt potential, however you want to see it. This is mostly minis I've built and then I didn't have a paint scheme in mind for them. I've also got some pieces, like I found this orc truck and bits which are missing for it, which is a shame. And then I've got some random bits I've started or primed. These are my Silent Hill minis, which I absolutely love and I really need to paint. Onto the next shelf, there are some pieces I started painting for like tutorials. I've got some Plague Bearers and a box of like Space Marines and Tyranids. Down on the bottom shelf, I keep my primers and also some very unfinished projects from back when I was doing painting streams on Twitch. This little guy was painted in Jurassic Park style. And then my squig boys, I love them so much. I say that as they sit abandoned on this shelf. This was an original form of my Girly Pop when I started doing these colours. I really need to base them and like try neaten them up. This is when I first got the theme ideas and I painted this Tyranid like a xenomorph from Alien and I really enjoyed it and decided I wanted to do more of them. That's my whole setup. If there's any things that you guys have questions about or like want to know what something specifically is, please feel free to drop me comments or message me on Instagram, things like that. I will be happy to let you know what anything is. Thank you so much for watching my video today and supporting my channel. I'm supposed to put in the spiel now about all the good things like subscribing, liking, notifications, anything like that would be so amazing and would help so much, as I'm hoping to post more YouTube videos and this be another sort of output for content so I can make slightly longer form content than what I'm posting on Instagram. So until the next video, thank you, bye.